Hey everyone, welcome back to Work Life Harmony. Today I'm excited to share with you something that's been kind of percolating in my brain for a long time. And you know how sometimes you have those ideas and thoughts and they need to take some time to fully come together, and then you have that like, yes, there it is moment. Well, this happened to me recently as I've been spending a lot of time really just journaling, thinking, processing what does productivity really mean? Because I'm seeing so many more people talking about it now. I had a previous podcast episode where I talked about why I hate the word hack, and I really hate it when I see productivity hacks. Um, I just that doesn't resonate well for me. I'm like, I think I want a long-term permanent solution, not a hack around something. But I want to talk to you guys today about the three modes of productivity. And there's one for sure that you all already are familiar with. A second one that as soon as I say it, you'll say, yes, of course. But it's the third one that I want to spend most of our time talking about today, because that to me is the real secret weapon here. So, the first mode of productivity is active productivity. This is exactly what, when someone says being productive, where does your brain instantly go? It goes into thinking of somebody in action, knocking things off their list, right? In kind of accomplishing mode. We all have various flavors of active productivity. And depending upon what your life looks like, productivity looks very different from one person to the other, right? Depends on your job, whether you have kids or not, whether you're an empty nester. All of that looks different. So there's no wrong way to do active productivity. Now, there are better ways to do it where we're actually mapping the right activities into our energy levels. And I shared tips on that in a previous podcast, the one entitled, Can You Really Do More in Less Time? But that's really the productivity mode one, is active productivity. Now, the second mode of productivity, that as soon as I say it, you'll say, well, that makes sense, is restorative. What I mean by restorative productivity is when you are actually sleeping. You are 100% resting your body. Now, sitting on the couch, reading a book, or sitting outside quietly, that's not restorative. You have to physically be sleeping to be in this restorative state. The science, the neuroscience, all of that behind what sleep does for our body and brain, there is nothing else that can do that for you except for actually getting sleep. And I know for me, I take my sleep very, very seriously. I go to bed early. And people who work in that, hustle 24/7, work till 2 a.m., get up at 5 a.m., they think that they're being productive, but they're missing out on tremendous opportunities, because when you don't sleep, you are taxing yourself out, and it gets to the point, and I know you've all been there. I mean, we've all pulled probably all-nighters in college and all of that, where you realize you're not thinking straight, right? The quality of work that you're producing is not that good. So there is a diminishing returns there at some point. So we've got active, we've got restorative. Now, the third mode of productivity, this is one that so many people miss. And it's what I'm calling passive productivity. Passive productivity are those times during the day where you're not in task oriented active productivity mode, but you are doing activities that allow all of the ideas, depending upon what your beliefs are. It's, maybe allowing God to talk to you, or the universe to talk to you, or to let those, even for me, finally getting clarity on this active, passive, restorative. It's the times throughout the day where you are allowing things to come in instead of just being in output mode. So let me ask you this question. When was the last time you can honestly say that you were in active productivity mode and you got this great idea or you had an aha moment? I would bet that most of you would say that's not when that comes to you, right? Usually, those moments of clarity, those great ideas, those feelings of yes happen when we're doing activities such as taking a shower, taking a bath, swimming. Water always does that for me. You're out for a walk, you're sitting on your back porch with a cup of coffee. Maybe you're just out having lunch with a friend and conversation goes in a direction that has this great moment for you. I like to kind of think of this as share the analogy of just like a raging river. And that river is going, that is active productivity. Well, if you are in a constant state of active productivity and then restorative, and then you wake up and you're active and restorative, and it's this constant downstream flow from this river, you will never have the opportunity for anything to come back upstream, namely, come back up into your brain, into your ideas. And I know this because I know we've all experienced this. Goodness knows I probably spent phew, 3 straight years of going back and forth between active and restorative, because I felt like every day I was just running this race against the clock to get this stuff done. And when I look back, and for me, I'm really zeroing in on when my daughter was coming up on year 1 to like year 3.5 to 4. When I look back on that part of my life, I can honestly say I don't nothing came in. Like, I never gave the opportunity to reflect, to think, to process. Even my reading time at that point, I was, reading all thing parenting books. That is still active productivity because I was in very aggressive learning mode. So I want you to take some time this week and really notice how you're going through your day and make sure that every single day you've got pockets of time where you are in passive productivity. For me in my life right now, and it's always changing as everybody's is, my morning walk or runs, that's always passive productivity time for me. Um, I like to take bubble baths whenever I do that. That's passive productivity. I usually have a chunk of time every day where I am out on my back porch if it's not too hot. If it is, I'm inside my office where I am just alone for 20, 30 minutes with my cup of coffee or maybe a cold drink in the afternoon. And I'm maybe with my journal, or sometimes I'm just kind of hanging out and just thinking about the day. Driving for me sometimes can be a very passive productivity where I kind of let my mind wander and think through ideas that I have going. So if you are missing out on passive productivity, you're going to be missing out on that opportunity to let your brain kind of subconsciously be processing, ruminating over, thinking about stuff to then have those aha, yes, clarity moments. So, as you set forth into your next round of weekly planning, I want you to look at your weekly plans and make sure. I know you're going to have restorative. And if you're not, please prioritize some sleep. I know you're going to have active productivity, but I want you to make sure 100% that you've got time set aside to make sure that you are in that mode of passive productivity as well. I hope you have a fantastic week.